Today we are going to be taking these two plants right here and planting them in the entrance garden. This is Love Parade Yarrow, and this is Green Twister Echinacea. I started these in the winter sowing method about around January, around so. I also have one more plant that I'm going to show you, but that plant is going to go in a completely different place. So this right here is Makeover Palace Purple Heuchera, and this also is started in the winter sowing method. And I also have a weed in here, and I thought for sure I'm not going to have any Heuchera, but I just left this over here, and over the summer these Heucheras started growing, and now I feel like I can plant them. This one has a few leaves over here. I haven't fertilized them a ton. I'll be honest with you, I haven't fertilized any of my container plants a ton because life has gotten busy, but I think that they are doing okay for not receiving a lot of fertilizer. And these echinaceas over here, you can tell they are nutrient deficient. Look at them, they have these red coloring on them, and they have chlorosis that's clear in here. We've also been receiving a ton of rain, so they've been getting soaked with the water, so that's probably draining any nutrients that are in here inside these containers. So let me take you over there and kind of update you on that bed. I started that bed last year, and the past couple years I was clearing that area, and then by the end of the season last year, I think I planted these close to around fall time, like early fall. I planted that bed, and now it's doing amazing. It doesn't have a lot of plants yet, but slowly I'm going to fill it up, and hopefully that place will be gorgeous by the end of next year, because I'm going to be adding more plants next year, Lord willing. So let me grab some fertilizer and some tools and take you over there and show you how that bed is doing. We are at the entryway bed over here. You're gonna hear lots of cars passing by, and I hate filming next to the road, but oh well, let's just do this. So right in front over here we have three Dudzias. These are the, I don't know how to pronounce it, cherry blossom Dudzias, and they have this beautiful white and pink, like sort of like an apple blossom Dudzia. I know they call it cherry blossom, but I'm guessing there's a cherry blossom that looks like that. But anyways, these grow about 2 to 3 feet wide and tall, and you can see they're kind of spreading out on the ground a little bit, which is, I think this is kind of strange. I'm sorry the lighting here is harsh. There's a lot of sunlight. Also behind that I planted 5 Russian sage. These are the Sage Advice Russian sage. I can't talk. And the one in the back looks like it's dying. I don't know what happened here, but it's not doing that great. And just about a week ago or so, these Russian sage were looking amazing. They were full of color, and their foliage was super lush and green, but we've been receiving a lot of rain almost every single day, and I think that's just causing them to yellow, because Russian sage does not like to have a lot of rain. And right over there at the top I planted a double white blooming lilac. So it has these double flowers, and it looks like for the most part the deer left it alone, but I do see here some deer damage, so I'm gonna have to spray that. But it looks so lush and so healthy. So right behind that we have this giant open space over here. I'm still not sure what to do with this area, but I have a lot of plans for this area over here. And we still have some wood piles that we need to clear out of here. We're in the process of doing that. But here's a quick top view of this bed over here. So now let me go ahead and grab the plants and place them and show you where we're going to be putting them. I might have to divide them if I'm able to, if the roots are not super tangled up in there, because I have lots of plants in each pot, and then this will allow me to kind of fill in the area quite a bit. So they are all placed. I don't know if I mentioned about the Russian sage. It grows about 2 to 3 feet tall, and 2 feet wide. So right in front of it, I placed the yarrow, the love parade yarrow, and it is known as Achillea siberica, it is native to Siberia. That tells me that it's definitely going to grow here. If it grows in Siberia, then it's going to grow in our area where we live in Zone 5B. So this is definitely going to be perfect for our area. And right behind the Russian sage, over to the left over there, I placed the green twister echinacea, and these grow about 3 feet tall and 2 feet wide. So I'm hoping that they will fill in this area over here. I first placed them over here, but I don't want to cover this rock, and I don't want to put the Achillea in here either because I want to be able to see this rock. So the plan is to plant something that's low, that's going to sort of hug the rock and not cover it. And if I plant something over the rock, that's going to rise above the rock and we can see the blooms from here and maybe a little bit of the foliage. That'll be perfect. But I just need to find the perfect thing for that. So I'm going to wait on this area over here. The plan was to plant something in front of the rock, but unfortunately these are just too large to plant them in this area over here. So where I placed the Achillea, there was a wild rose bush, giant wild rose bush that's growing in here. So I killed that plant, and now I am left with all these stumps over here, so I have to get rid of these. I think that I can just pull them out because they're all rotted, and there is here a black-eyed Susan that's growing on its own. I think I'm just gonna pull that out. I left it there for the time being because I was thinking it's going to fill in this area and stop the weeds from growing here, because weeds just spread naturally in here. Like you see in this area over here, we have some milkweed. This is swamp milkweed that's growing on its own, but I left it because I wanted some milkweed for the butterflies, and I thought it's perfect here. It has some flowers right next to it, so the butterflies can lay their eggs over here if they want to. So now I'm going to pull this up and plant the Achillea and also the echinacea. I will try to spread them out a little bit so that they're not all clustered together. If I have to plant them all together, then next season in the spring, early in the spring, I'll come and separate them. I will have to water them after I plant them, but I don't have any water with me right now, and it's a long driveway, so I will have to bring some water later. Let's look at them from over here. I have 7 green twister echinacea in here. You can barely see them right now, but next year they are going to put tons of growth on, and they are going to put on some flowers. So they are going to look absolutely amazing with the Russian sage in here and the Driers. And hopefully this Russian sage will come back next year. If it doesn't, I'll have to replace it with another one. And let's take a look at the echinacea, at the yarrow over here, or Achillea siberica. So I divided these into 3 groups of plants, so each of them has about 2 to 3 plants in each spot, and these grow about 18 inches wide and 2 feet tall, so 24 inches tall. And I think by spacing them this way, they get to grow closer together a lot faster, and later on I can always divide them. Next season, once these start to put on some growth in the early to mid to late spring, I'll come over here and I'll divide them so that I can have more of a spread in here. And I did not take the roots of this giant rosebush because I tried to pull on them and they were super hard to get out, and I didn't want to use a shovel because that job alone will take me like 1 or 2 hours to get rid of these stumps over here. So I'll just bury them with mulch and with compost, and over time they will just decompose and we won't have to deal with them anymore. So right now, if we take a look back at them from here, you can't really see anything, you can't see any improvement, it still looks the same. But next season, I promise you, these plants are going to fill in and they are going to make this area look super beautiful. It's going to elevate it, bring a lot more color in here. Right now it's just purple, and you can tell I love the cool color tones. I want this area to be kind of purples and pinks and whites. I do not like oranges and yellows and all that. I'll say there are 2 types of yellows that I like, and that is kind of like a buttery light yellow or fluorescent yellow, and the yellow and the black-eyed Susan, and that's because of the brown and the black-eyed Susan. It kind of mellows it down a little bit and I can tolerate it. I actually like black-eyed Susans a lot, which is super weird considering that I do not like yellow. So I think we are done with this area for today. So right now let's go ahead and take you over to the bed where I'm going to be planting the Heuchera. This is a humming moth. So this is the flower bed where we are going to be planting the Heucheras in, and my plan is to put the Heucheras right in this corner over here, and I have been planning for this for several years now, and I'll admit it, I haven't been in this bed the whole season. The only time I came here is in the early spring and maybe a little bit late spring, and I came and I sheared back the chives, and that's all I did. I didn't weed in here, I didn't do anything. So there are lots of weeds and lots of maintenance that needs to be done in this bed. So we'll also be working on that. And you just saw the humming moth on the phlox. I just showed you that. This thing comes here every single year and it comes to the phlox plants, and I love phlox. These phlox are like probably, I don't know, 8 feet tall or so. They're growing gigantically. I'm not sure why they're growing so tall, but I don't mind them because they're kind of covering up this lattice work in the back that I hate. And hopefully one year I'd be able to replace that with maybe something solid, or I don't know, but I want something that's different, and I really don't like the brown. I know it goes with the railing on the top, but I think black would be better, maybe like a chalk black, something like that. Anyways, so we're going to be placing them over there, but first I have to weed that space that I'm going to be planting them in, because again, I haven't been in this area at all for the whole season. Oh, one more thing about the phlox, its fragrance is absolutely amazing. It fills up this whole area with beautiful fragrance. Whenever I come over on the deck or pass by it over here, it just fills this entire area with its fragrance, and it's just absolutely beautiful. So we also need to do some work on the hydrangea over there. It got some winter damage, but it's putting on some new growth, so I have to prune off all the dead growth off of that, which is embarrassing because I should have done that in the early spring, but I didn't. Oh well. So let's go ahead, start on this corner over here, and then plant the Heucheras, and then we'll continue with cleaning up this bed over here in this mess. So I managed to create two areas, one right here next to the chives and one on this end over here. And there are some strawberries over here that I'm going to be taking out of here. I am not sure if I'm going to be keeping the creeping thyme or not. This is something I need to think about because it keeps having some dead branches in it. And granted, this bed is not on irrigation, so maybe that's the reason why it's doing that. I'm not sure. We'll have to see about that. I will probably give them one more season after I set up irrigation in here. I would like to have it set up this season, but I have a feeling that probably I'm not going to be able to do that because all the plants are grown in here. So maybe what I'd have to do is set it up in the spring or just in the fall after I cut everything back. Then I can come here and set it up. I think that's probably what I'll do. That's probably my best option. So I'm going to take the heuchera and divide it into two, one over here and one over there. Again, the strawberries are going to be going into one of my beds in the raised garden bed over there. So I will have to dig all these out. So right now let's go ahead and get these heuchera planted in here and clean up this bed, and then I'll show you the things that I have in here. There they are. You can barely see them. I planted them right up to the edge of the bed because I wanted to make sure that they're going to receive enough sunlight. This chive is growing so much. One season I wasn't able to come out here and cut it back before the blooms died and went to seed. So it ended up seeding itself quite a bit in here. So I will have to thin it. I do want to give some chive to some people, so I'll be potting these up and taking them to them whenever I am able to. But right now I don't have any extra potting soil, so I'm not going to mess with them at this point. But this is the plan, is to divide them and give some of them away because that's just a lot of chive. I may come back here later on today to cut back some of the chive and freeze dry it, and this will preserve it for the whole season, the whole year and longer, and it will preserve the freshness of the chives, and then I could use it in cooking just like you would use fresh chives. So that's one thing I would do. One year I tried to dehydrate it and I did not like the flavor at all. So from now on I'll always freeze dry all my herbs. Well, not from now on, from that time on I will freeze dry my herbs because it's the best thing ever. And if you guys are interested in freeze drying food, I'll leave my affiliate link to the Harvest Right freeze dryer. They have a new freeze dryer right now. I think they are having a sale, I'm not sure, but you can go ahead and check it out if you are interested in freeze drying. Again, the link will be in the description box below if I remember. And if I remember, I'll also leave the link in the comments section. I'll pin the link at the top so that you guys can go ahead and check it out. So right now we are going to clean up all the mess in this bed, whatever I can clean up. There are a lot of things that need to be divided in here and planted somewhere else and all that, but I don't have the time to do that. Right now, all I want to do is just clean up the bed. This bed, hopefully next year I'll be able to revamp it a little bit. I have some fresh ideas for it and I'd like to do that next year. But for the time being, it's just going to stay as it is. Maybe in the fall I might come here and divide some of the plants and take them into some of my other beds. I might do that because this bed is full of a lot of spring blooming stuff. And I would like to have some of these in some of my new beds that I created, and that would be great for those beds. So let's go ahead and get this bed cleaned up. I also have to edge this part right here because the grass has crept in, and this part as well. I don't have any plans for this right now, so a lot of just wild stuff are growing. The grass was here when we moved in along with the flowers. So this whole area over here is going to get an overhaul? I don't know. How do you say that? I don't know. I guess I'll look it up on Google and see how to pronounce that. Anyways, so I want to eventually expand. I'm holding the shovel so the camera's shaking. I want to expand this bed kind of this way and give it a little bit of a curve and then curve it back in at the end over there, meeting with the stairs. So that's not going to happen anytime soon. Maybe next year if my project's kind of slowed down a little bit, but I'm just kind of neglecting this area at this point because this is the back of the house and I really want to fix the front of the house because I want to give it a nice curb appeal. But this bed over here, I really want it to be beautiful because this is our parking space over here, so when people come in and park, I want them to see something beautiful, and that's the reason why I want this bed to look beautiful. And right now it's a mess. I mean, it's a nice cottage bed, but it's been neglected, so I have to kind of just fix it up a little bit. So let's go ahead and edge this area. I still have to cut back the rows, I think that's, and just a few things in here, and that's all I'm gonna do in this bed over here for today. So I just dug these bearded irises out because they were full of grass growing in between them, and chives as well. And I think anyways, I want to change their position, and now is a perfect time to dig out your irises and divide them. This summer is the best time to divide your irises. This is where I planted the bearded irises. I'm not going to be leaving them here next season. I'm going to be transplanting them, but this is the only spot I had left to plant. I didn't want to push them too close to the hydrangea. I did run into one of the hydrangea roots and I accidentally pulled one of the little ones. Not a big deal. It's alright. I think it'll be okay. So the bed is looking, I think, a lot better now. Again, I will be dividing these and giving some of them away. Eventually, I'm not sure that I want to have the chives in this bed over here. I might put them somewhere else. I might just create a small bed for chives, maybe in the vegetable garden or so. But I do like their flowers. I might get something like Serendipity Allium or something like that to have this kind of same look in here that doesn't kind of flop over like that, because when these are small they're okay, but when they receive fertilizer they start flopping over. And not that I fertilize them, but they receive the runoff from the hydrangea over there. And over here we have some Siberian iris, and those bloom early spring, no, mid-spring, I think, around there, early to mid-spring. And then we have a euonymus in here, and the tall phlox in the back. I have two different colors, and some milkweed seeded itself in here. I just left them in here because I want to make sure the caterpillars, the monarch caterpillars or the monarch butterflies, have something to lay their eggs on, and also the caterpillars have something to feed on. So this is what happened over there. The rose looks like it's severely damaged. I think it has multiple things going on. I think the Japanese beetles might have gotten to it, maybe the earwigs. I sprayed it with diatomaceous earth a couple times, but both times it was raining, so the diatomaceous earth got washed off. I did deadhead most of it. I'm still seeing some of the blooms that I need to deadhead. And here we have some balloon flowers that are growing super tall. I'm not sure what's the deal over there. And the thing with balloon flowers, if you don't deadhead them, they look kind of ugly. And this is not the color I also ordered. When I ordered these, I ordered the purple ones, and they sent me the white ones. They're still pretty, but it's not the color I wanted here. So I have some purple flowers that I'm going to be planting in the back over here just to bring some purple element in here we have the chives that are purple in there, and then if I have something else in here that's purple, it kind of ties it together. This rose has a beautiful peachy color, like a peachy pink color. It's gorgeous. I love it. These bearded irises are here, and everything else that's here is because there's a slab of concrete in this section and I can't do anything about it. It's gigantic and there's only about this much soil in there. So these are the only things that can grow in here. So I have the thyme in here. I have some, what do you call it? Dianthus that I need to also deadhead. I totally forgot about that. But I think I'll leave that for another day. For now, I think I'm just going to stop and head inside. But I think this bed over here is looking so much better than when I first started. And I do want to make a lot of changes, as I have mentioned. And I have irrigation right here that's going to the pots that are right there. And I will be hooking it. Look at these weeds. Weeds everywhere. The chickens, I kind of gave up on these beds because the chickens kept digging them. So I have to clean up these beds and, I don't know, maybe plant something that's just super resilient and just keeps coming back. Maybe I have some, what do you call them? Oh, something in the back. It's growing underneath the deck and I can pull it up and plant it in here. So anyways, this is what this bed looks like. Yes, sweetie, hold on, almost done. This is what this bed looks like for now. Hold on. Also, in the back right there, there's a honeysuckle that I'm going to be changing that for something else, hopefully next year. But I do love the foliage, but it just takes over the deck up there. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And I will leave a couple videos for you right here. I'll leave a video for where I planted this bed over here. I think, did I show a video of that? I don't remember which video I showed about this bed over here, but I'll leave a video for you right over there about this bed. And then also on this side over here, I'll leave a video for when I cleared up the entrance bed, and you can click on those and watch them. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell to receive notifications of whenever I upload new videos. And if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. I'll see you again in the next video. Bye!